Healing with psychedelics can, yes, be transformative and beautiful, but what happens when it starts to feel overwhelming? What happens when you're like, do I really need another ceremony? Is this really what I need? Today, we're going to be exploring 5 signs that it might be time to take a step back from psychedelics and focus on integration. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome. My name is Lana Pervik, and on this channel, we really dive into the profound potential of psychedelics, the vital role of integration in our journeys, and we explore a lot of the nuances around walking the psychedelic path. In this video, we're going to be focusing on a topic that often gets overlooked, knowing when to take a break from psychedelics. After all, the space between our experiences can be just as important, if not more important, than the psychedelic experiences themselves. And as we explore this topic, I do want to emphasize that this isn't about discouraging anyone from their path. Instead, it's really about fostering awareness and self-care and just looking at some of those nuances. I love to look at the nuances. So let's take a closer look at the 5 signs that it might be time for a little break, a little step back from the psychedelics. So sign number one of the most telling signs that it is time to take a step back is recognizing that you have a lot to integrate. It's really simple. If you find yourself saying, I know what I need to do, I just need to do it. Can't tell you how many times I've heard people say that. It's a sign that the insights from your experience aren't actually being processed. They're not actually being applied. You have the awareness, but the awareness is just the first step. The awareness takes us far, but we have to actually follow that awareness with action. And so if you have the awareness, but you're not taking the action, it might be time to just take a little break and focus on the action part of integration. By the way, if you are wanting to hear some pro tips on integration, I'll link a podcast episode that I did on that with you here in the cards. So often people repeat the same lessons without diving deeper, or it feels like there's this wall, you can't get past this layer. And it's crucial to focus on applying these lessons that you get from your medicine work into daily life rather than seeking more psychedelic experiences. And I get it, ceremonies are fun and the community's nice, and it's nice to get into that expanded state, and it can be a very blissful experience where you feel very alive. But remember, life is happening here in the everyday. We're not always on psychedelics, and that is certainly not the point of this work. So let's just recall what Alan Watts famously said: when you get the message, hang up the phone. So now might be the time to hang up the phone and focus on your integration process. Sign number 2, and this one can be a little bit more difficult to identify, but it's a bit of a red flag. You're chasing the highs. You're chasing the highs of the psychedelic experience. And I think this is really valid because it can be very easy to get addicted to the intensity and breakthroughs that come from the journeys, the community, even if community is something that you haven't had access to. But if you're finding that you're more focused on the highs and the sense of community that accompanies them rather than the lessons learned, it might be time to take a step back. So to do this, ground yourself in the mundane aspects of life. Really come back to simplicity. Just pull it all back, right? Can you find joy in simple tasks like cooking or spending time with your loved ones or even ironing your laundry? Remember, the purpose of these experiences is to help us find joy in everyday moments, not just altered states. And when we actually take a step back and do some of these more mundane tasks, we actually create this spaciousness in the mind that allows us to process and integrate our insights more deeply. If we're chasing the highs, we're not giving space for those lows, those kind of everyday moments. And so taking a step back will allow some of those insights to get grounded into the everyday. Sign number 3 that it's time to take a break with psychedelics, whether you are doing psychedelics recreationally or ceremonially or therapeutically, is that there are compulsive habits forming around your psychedelic use. So you notice that your relationship with psychedelics is starting to feel compulsive. This is a clear sign that it's time for a break. I think this is a lot less common with psychedelics in particular because they're not necessarily habit forming, but we can feel this compulsion to go to the next ceremony, to go to the next retreat, to have the next experience. I want us to think about it more in terms of that rather than the substance itself. But this could also manifest as feeling the compulsion to use psychedelics in recreational settings in order to numb or escape, or it could be relying on them more than you intended to. Maybe you're relying on your microdosing, practice rather than using your microdosing practice to establish a new baseline for yourself so that you can live without it. This is very personal. It's just essential to reflect on whether your connection with these substances feels supportive or if it has become codependent. So if you're feeling restricted or stagnant, it's a sign to reassess your relationship with psychedelics. Sign number 4 is that life is starting to feel out of control. Yeah. When your life starts to feel out of control because you're too focused on your healing journey, it's time to reevaluate your priorities. Well, it's normal to immerse yourself in the healing journey. Like I always say, healing is a full-time job. If there's other areas in your life, such as relationships or career or health, that are like actually suffering, not just being put to the side and deprioritized, but like are actually being negatively impacted in a way that you can feel on a day-to-day basis, yeah, it might be time to just take a step back and reevaluate things and maybe flow some of your energy into some of these other areas that are on life support, essentially. Again, just being very mindful about whether we're using psychedelics to run closer to something or run further away from something. Remember that healing is a marathon, not a sprint. And so finding balance is the key to sustainable growth. And sign number 5 is that you're feeling worse, not better. Now, there's a lot of nuance to this that I want us to be aware of. In fact, I talk about this nuance in episode 114, which is the latest podcast episode. So there's definitely way too much nuance in that to be covered in this 10-minute video. But if you're consistently feeling worse instead of better without seeing how the discomfort is a part of your growth, like if you're having a hard time finding meaning in the discomfort and finding a way to really face and be with the discomfort, I think it's time to consider taking a break, even if it's just to get a little bit of space to maybe hold the discomfort more closely. Again, healing's not linear, so it's common to feel stuck in different phases. But if this feeling lingers without any signs of progress, and if things are just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, it might be, yeah, beneficial to take a step back and also probably get some additional support from probably a therapist. There's no shame in this. No person's journey looks like another person's. So if this is you, yeah, please just take care of yourself. Remember that psychedelics are powerful tools, and taking a break can actually be really beneficial to helping you stabilize yourself for the rest of the journey ahead. So there you have it, the 5 signs that it might be time to take a break from psychedelics. What did I miss? Let's have a conversation in the comments and let me know what you think is a sign that it's time to take a step back from psychedelics. So if you resonated with any of these signs and decided to take a break, here are some strategies that might help you through the process of taking that break. So focus on integration, of course. Use this time to really work on embodying the lessons that you've learned. My definition of psychedelic integration is acting as if the insights gained from your experience are truth. So how can you act as if whatever lesson it is, whatever insight that it is came through is truth? What would you do? How would you show up? What thoughts would you have? That's a good place to start. You can also explore other modalities. Psychedelics are definitely not the only tools for transformation and healing. Consider other practices such as meditation, breath work. They go very, very well with psychedelics. You can also find creative outlets that resonate with you. Another thing to consider if you're taking a break is to really prioritize your health and wellness, starting with sleep. Sleep is always the most important thing to address for anyone ever. But yeah, really focus on your health and wellness, making your physical and mental health a priority. Get outside, breathe in some fresh air. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just move your body in ways that feel natural and organic to you if you're not a gym person. Just find ways to move energy and to just get your body flowing. Another thing to keep in mind is to simplify your lifestyle, creating daily routines and habits, or maybe you're not a daily routine and habit kind of person like me. I'm just like a more go with the flow, but just simplifying every phase in your day and every part of your day will help you to focus on the process of integration and just support yourself without the support of psychedelics or the community that come along with that. And lastly, strengthen your foundation. Use this time off to build or reinforce the foundational aspects of your life that need attention. This will ensure that when you return to psychedelics, you return from a place of strength. I'm currently taking a break from medicine because I have way too much to integrate after my 5-MeO DMT experience. And so, one area that I have been working on strengthening my foundations has actually been business and finances, career and finances. And I've been really just in the 3D world of that, going to bank meetings, setting up business structures, working on courses, rebranding, just a lot of business foundations and monetary foundations have been an area of focus for me during integration, so that when I do return back to medicine to really take me to that next level, these foundations are built. So what are the foundations and areas in your life that could use some love and attention and that will help strengthen your journey of transformation even more? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to dive deeper into this, I actually did a full 40-minute podcast episode. This is just like a short snippet of it. Listen to podcast episode 105 of Modern Psychedelics, which can be found here on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, wherever you listen. And in that episode, I explore these signs in greater detail. All right, I'm going to sign off here. Definitely give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a comment below and let's have a conversation. And definitely subscribe and hit the notifications bell so that you don't miss new videos, because we have some pretty exciting stuff coming here on YouTube. All right, take care.